Okay, so for anyone who follows ancient history, the story of China's hidden pyramids,
Hmm.
it's still one of the really big puzzles out there.
It absolutely is. We're talking, what, over 200 of these structures?
Exactly. And some reports claim they're bigger, maybe even older, than the pyramids in Egypt.
Which is staggering when you think about it.
Right. But then, you look in the standard history books, you think about what you learned in school. They're just not there.
Conspicuously absent.
Yeah. So this deep dive, we really want to try and figure out why this huge archaeological fact is still, well, hiding in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
So let's set the scene. We need to go just outside Shin, modern city. Most people know it for the Terracotta Army, obviously.
Rail over famous site.
But right there, in that same area, Shaanxi Province, the Maoling Mausoleum Complex, that's where you find them.
Over 200 of these pyramid-shaped mounds just rising out of the landscape.
And the really striking thing is how they look,
Mm.
isn't it? They don't scream pyramid like Giza does.
Not at all. They often just look like hills, covering grass, trees. They blend right in.
But underneath all that, it's ancient stone, it's tombs for emperors, maybe even clues to a whole lost civilization.
And that's where it gets particularly interesting how these structures fit into the history we think we know.
You mean the dating?
Yeah. I mean, the standard explanation, the most accepted one, dates them to the Western Han Dynasty, so roughly 200 BCE to 9 CE.
A period of huge power, huge construction projects. Makes sense.
It does fit. But then you have these other stories, Chinese legends, even some old Soviet military files, apparently.
Deals, really?
Yeah, suggesting that maybe some of these aren't Han Dynasty at all, that they could be thousands of years older, prehistoric even.
Wow. Okay, so that really changes the picture.
It potentially does. And then there's the legend of the White Pyramid of Xi'an.
Ah, yes, the almost mythical one.
Supposedly massive, over 300 feet tall, which would make it taller than the Great Pyramid at Giza.
Which is incredible.
But here's the really interesting thing. You almost never hear about it officially. Tourists, researchers, you generally can't get anywhere near it. It's incredibly obscure for something supposedly so huge.
So, okay, let's circle back to that core question then. If they're this big, this numerous, potentially this old, why haven't we heard more? Why the silence?
It's probably not one single thing, is it?
Seems unlikely. You hear theories about deliberate government secrecy, maybe protecting the sites, maybe controlling the narrative, especially back in the 20th century.
It's definitely floated. And look, maybe there are sensitive things there they don't want disturbed or looted. That's plausible. But the level of obscurity seems intense.
And then there's the cultural angle you mentioned earlier.
Right. In China, the historical focus traditionally has been maybe more on the emperors themselves, the dynastic lines, the philosophy.
Yeah.
Not so much the giant tombs like in Egypt where the pyramids are the main story.
So maybe less cultural impetus to shout about these massive burial mounds.
Perhaps. It's a different way of framing historical importance. And then, of course, you have that no-fly zone.
Imposed in 2002, right, over some of the pyramid areas in Shaanxi.
Exactly. And that naturally just poured fuel on the fire for all sorts of, well, wilder theories.
Aliens. Lost super civilizations.
Right.
Forbidden knowledge hidden inside.
You name it. When you have a vacuum of information, speculation rushes in.
Which happens. But for us, trying to understand this, we need to separate that speculation from what we actually know.
Absolutely crucial. So let's try and nail down the verified facts.
Okay. What can we say for sure?
Well, first, they are real. They exist. They aren't just natural hills that people mistook.
Right. They're man-made structures.
Definitely. And they are ancient tombs, primarily imperial ones. They hold the remains of Han Dynasty emperors, empresses, officials, warriors, along with treasures, artifacts. That's confirmed by the excavations that have been done.
Like the Terracotta Army itself, associated with Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb, which is also a massive mound.
Precisely. That's the most famous example, but part of the same broad phenomenon. And here's another key fact. Some of them show definite astronomical alignments.
Ah, like we see in Egypt. Or with the Maya.
Exactly like that. Alignments to cardinal points, solstices, maybe even specific stars or constellations. It suggests, a very deliberate design connecting the earthly rulers with the cosmos.
Okay, so those are the facts. What about the myths then? The aliens, the giants.
So that's where we have to be clear. Is there any hard archaeological evidence? No. Nothing concrete points to extraterrestrial builders or a lost race of giants from millennia before the dynasties.
So that remains firmly in the realm of speculation, maybe wishful thinking.
For now, yes. But, and this is a big but, with over 200 of these structures and so many still largely unexcavated, unexplored.
The potential for future discoveries is huge.
Immense. We could find things that completely rewrite our understanding. We just don't know yet.
That unknown potential is exciting.
Yeah.
But it also brings up that bigger sort of global picture, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, why pyramids? Why did ancient Egyptians, ancient Mayans, and other Mesoamerican cultures, and the ancient Chinese all land on this specific architectural form, these massive triangular structures?
That is one of the great questions of archaeology, isn't it?
Is it just coincidence? Did they all independently think, hey, a pyramid is a stable way to build something huge? Or was there something more?
Like a shared idea,
Or maybe some shared knowledge,
Yeah.
whether it was spiritual, like connecting to the heavens,
Mhm.
or scientific, or maybe just a fundamental human archetype about building towards the sky.
It's fascinating to think about, and it gets even more intriguing when you look closer at those alignments we mentioned.
The astronomical connections.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's not just a vague alignment sometimes. Satellite imagery analysis has shown incredible geometric precision in how some Chinese pyramid groups are laid out,
Precision how?
mirroring constellations. Just like the famous theory about the Giza pyramids in Egypt mirroring Orion's belt, we see potentially similar patterns in China.
Okay, wait. So multiple ancient cultures, separated by vast oceans and time, are potentially building massive pyramid complexes, aligned with the same or similar celestial patterns.
That's what some evidence suggests, and that really pushes the question beyond simple coincidence, doesn't it? It hints at, well, deeper connections, or a deeper shared understanding of the cosmos that we've perhaps lost.
It certainly makes you think. And as China continues this archaeological work, hopefully opens up more. Maybe we'll get more pieces of that puzzle.
We have to hope so. The potential to learn more about this incredible network of structures, potentially rewriting parts of human history, it's enormous.
It really does feel like one of the greatest untold stories, still waiting to be fully revealed.
So thinking about that global pattern, the pyramids, the alignments, what does that shared architectural language spanning continents and millennia truly tell us about our ancestors? What deep connections, what universal understanding of the world might we just be starting to glimpse?